folks. Welcome to Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Welcome, folks.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting show of Treasure Talk. And I guess we better go ahead and get started right away, huh, Jeff?
I believe so.
Okay, so we're live, folks, and today's show, of course, is brought to you by your friends at Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Treasure Talk guests and members belong solely to the guests and members and not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Monin. And, of course, the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of treasure hunting, metal detecting, in a fun and informative manner. And, well, I said that wrong. Educate our members in a fun, informative manner. Got it. I should read the card.
That's right. I always use the cue cards.
Yes.
It's kind of like using a teleprompter. Always use it when you can.
Yes, absolutely. I got to memorize, but I mess it up sometimes.
Yeah, well, everybody that's watching on Facebook, we are streaming to 5 Facebook groups and pages as we speak. So if you would please, right above our pictures on the live stream, it says we are broadcasting live on StreamYard. Click here to give StreamYard permission to use your name. All that does is let us see your name, or let me see your name here in the chat instead of Facebook user. So that's all it means. And we've got a number of people watching, and some of them just says Facebook users. And I think this is probably Tom Becker. He's from Ohio. But if you do that, it would be greatly appreciated. One other thing, I want to make sure that everybody knows that tonight at 9 o'clock, you need to tune in to the Diggin' Canuck, as there's going to be a big watch party. She was invited to be on a television special in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And she is going to be the star of the show. So tune in at 9 o'clock on YouTube at the Diggin' Canuck and be entertained tonight with a great show. So I think we probably better get going here, hadn't we, Phil?
Yes, we better invite the guest in and get started because we've got a lot of questions. And of course, if you have a question on Facebook, Jocelyn will hand it to me or tell me about it. And if you're on YouTube, then Jeff will hopefully be able to pull that off. They go by pretty quick, though, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, and some of the questions, like I said, Phil, we're on 5 YouTube, or not 5, we're on 5 Facebook groups. Some on my page, Myers Metal Detectors, Treasure Talk, Blue Spade Society. I may see those where Jocelyn wouldn't. So please identify yourself with any questions, and let's get going right here, because we got a really good show for you tonight. We've been working hard to try to get this young man on. He is very, very accomplished at what he does, and I think you're going to be greatly, greatly entertained tonight. So if you got some questions, let's get them up in the chat. And hopefully I'll be able to catch him, or Jocelyn will be able to catch him. So let's bring on tonight our guest, Leighton Harrington. Hey, Lee.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me on tonight.
You are quite welcome.
It's been quite some time to get me here, but, with a couple of illnesses and a couple of things that kind of got in the way of life, but we finally made it.
Awesome.
Yes,
well, we're glad you're here, and I know we've got a bunch of questions already ready to go, and some people are writing them in now on Facebook. But first off, welcome, and give us a brief history of how you got started in metal detecting.
Well, I don't know if it'll be brief, but we'll try to shorten it up a little bit. I started back in 1972, so next year will be my 50th year metal detecting. I would say that's quite the accomplishment where, most people kind of pick it up, drop the habit, and then, move forward and try something different. But I've managed to stay with it. I was hooked from day one, to be honest with you.
Do you remember the detector you were using?
I do. In fact, briefly, my uncle and my dad owned a coin shop in a small local town, and that's how we actually got introduced to metal detecting. They had a vendor come in one day with 6 White's Electronics Gold 66 TR models. And as you know, being in the hobby this long, they were pretty much the dinosaur. I remember getting one that was left over that did not sell at the end of the year. So my uncle took one and I got one. So that's how I actually got one in my hands at the age of 12.
And you said that was
the
TR.
White's Gold. Yep, the White's Goldmaster 66 TR. It was a very large machine. It probably weighed a good 5 or 6 pounds. And after swinging that thing in a day at 12 years old, you learned real quick how to take breaks.
Absolutely. It sounds like I got a delay on my feed.
Well, there's always going to be a little bit.
Yeah, I'm having
Turn something down. You got volume up.
Oh, let me see here. Maybe that's it. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, I had one of those in my shop before, that TR-66, and that was a hunker of a detector. So
Yeah.
So you've in your detecting career, you've seen quite a few changes, as I have too, in metal detectors. Now everything's super small. What are you swinging today?
Today, actually, I am using. Well, first of all, let me just finish up a little bit with the whites. Yeah, the whites. I was the whites guy for 35 years. Fantastic machines. Went through all the different technologies as we went up in years, and then I put a mine lab in my hand, and I've never turned the corner or gone back at all. I just find them. I'm a little partial to them. I've done success rate for me personally, and in my areas have been astronomical. I wish I had it back in the 70s and 80s. I really do. The technology today is, as you know, Phil, is outstanding. So, if you go over it, you're going to find it, right? That's the way it is. Persistence pays off. I will tell you that.
Right. And what model are you swinging?
Right now, well, since 2012, I've had a MineLab CTX 3030, and I'm using the Equinox 800 also.
And how do you rate the two compared to each other?
To each other, well, you know as well as I do, every machine has its purpose. I've recently gotten that 800 within the last 2 years. I actually bought one for my son, a year before that, and he loved it so much he just said, get yourself one. Comparing to each other, I still prefer the 3030. But again, it's in my area. I think that for me, that is my best choice of interest right there, is the 3030. I love it.
Yeah, I know. I own both also, and I know the 3030 to me seems more accurate with the two number system.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely very well. So here's a little thing. I am not really a big numbers guy. I do glance at it, you know what I mean? But if it's repeatable, when in doubt, dig it out. That's my motto. Dig it out. That's what we're there to do, right? Dig it. Absolutely. What's the worst that can happen? You have to put it in your trash bag and you bring it out. That's all, so you move on to the next thing. And, as far as numbers, yeah, it's very accurate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it just is more. I think the condensed numbers on the Equinox are different than the E-Track or the CTX. So I think that's what you have on those two over the Equinox. Now, I saw
the E-Track was pretty accurate when I had my E-Track.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now I saw that you're I guess a coil tech tester. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, Trevor has, I've been with Trevor for quite a number of years, including going way back, when they introduced the new coils for the CTX, in fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was lucky enough to get on that team, and here we are with the Equinox. Yeah, absolutely.
And what is your favorite coil?
Of the three for the Equinox,
Yes.
Again, in my area, because I hunt a lot of beach areas that get cut out after nor'easters here in the wintertime, I prefer the smaller 10x5 coil because I can get where other guys haven't gotten or can't get in between the rocks. We have, and when I say rocks, I'm talking boulder fields. I'm not talking little pebbles or, a few baseball sized rocks. I'm speaking more on the boulder size, maybe basketball size or even bigger. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that 10x5. But every coil has its place. Absolutely.
Right. And I saw in some of your pictures, you're in a picture with the, I guess it's the CTX 9x14. But have you tried the Equinox 9x14 also?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, over the years, I will admit I've had to become very versatile. I started with land, ended up on the beach, in the water, doing cellar holes, cornfields, that type of areas for here in New England, being a colonial area. You never know where you're going to turn up the goodies. And a lot of people always ask me, where is the treasure? I've had that question so many times over the years, and I always tell them, under your coil. It is under your coil. It's never over there. It's never around the corner. It's never at the next cellar hole. It's always under your coil. So if you go over it, you're going to find it.
Absolutely. And I always tell people you find it one piece at a time. Chances
Absolutely.
are you're not going to be like the guy on the East Coast, Jim Tibbetts, when he found all the gold and silver coins. Chances are
Right.
that's not going to happen every day. But every
Right.
day, a piece of treasure can be found under your coil, one at
Absolutely.
a time.
One
So
at a time.
one at a time. And this is the Coil Tech. This is actually the only Coil Tech I have in stock right now.
Oh, wow.
Equinox. Because the 10x5s and the 15s are gone. I still have a couple of those 9x14 or 14x9s left.
Yep.
And
Yeah, the
it's just
14x9. Yeah, not to interrupt you, but the 14x9. I mean, like I said, each coil. I go small, medium, large. The 10x5, 14x9, and then the 15 round. The 14x9, the one that you have. Hopefully by tonight you'll sell it. But and I'm not trying to push it, but it is a great coil for cornfields, soybean areas. Perfect for out in those types of wide open areas. And the pinpointing on that particular model, I don't know if you've actually had a chance to really field test that thing, Phil, but I'll be honest with you. That thing seems to pinpoint even better than the small 10x5 and the 15 round for some reason on the Equinox. It just blows it away. I mean,
Yeah.
very, very small footprint.
Yeah, it must just be the shape of it pinpoints.
Could be the
easier.
elliptical shape, yeah.
Than the
Yeah.
other ones.
Yeah. And the 15-inch to move forward, I use that. I call that my search and recovery coil. And the reason I say that, or kind of nickname it that, is because, just go backwards a little bit, the 10x5 is more of a personal use. I like to use that when I'm out there doing my thing. And again, with the 14x9, like we just discussed. But the 15 round, if I get a lost ring or an item, set of keys out in the water, anything like that, that's the coil that I go to. And it covers much more ground, much quicker. And I just bring my sensitivity down, or I'll notch out anything else out over and above whatever it is that I'm looking for, or under what I'm looking for. And that's how I use that particular coil. It's a great coil.
Awesome. So which one is your favorite?
I'm going to go with the 10x5 because I get into them nooks and crannies, and I find a lot of silver and gold. I have found my share with all of them, but I would have to say that small coil is the way to go in my area, like I say.
Yeah. I use a small coil. I don't have the 10x5. I keep getting them in, but I feel guilty and then end up selling them to the customers because
Right.
they're wanting them. So I've been using my old 6-inch coil, and I'm
Yep.
amazed at the depth of the small coils. And I know that
Well,
10x5 is the same because that's what the customers tell me. It's just incredible
absolutely.
depth on them.
Yeah, and without a doubt, here down in the wet sand, I like to hunt the tide as I'm going out at least a couple hours prior to, and then of course at low tide, and then about 2.5 hours in. So I've got a good 5 hour range, and I don't get off that beach until I get pushed out by the water. So not just that one beach, but all of our New England beaches, we have tides that not only go up and down, but they go far out. So, being this far up in New England, we take advantage of those moon tides, and, we get out in those virgin areas. And a lot of times there are rock pools or areas that aren't very big that, well, as you know, being a water hunter, when you start getting into that gravel area out there, that's where the old swim holes used to be, the rafts and stuff like that. So we're always hunkering down around those areas.
Okay, awesome. And we did have a question on Facebook, and it's asking, can all coils be used on all detectors? And no, unfortunately not. They're specific to each brand of detectors. So we're talking with Leighton about the CTX and the Equinox, and they use two different coils,
Correct.
made by the same manufacturers, but made completely different. So they won't his CTX coil won't work on his Equinox and vice versa. So
Correct.
just
Yeah,
wanted
I actually have 6 different coils, 3 for each one. The MindLab CTX 3030 and 3 for the Equinox, like we were just talking about. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's because you do a whole lot of different type of hunting, and you want the right coil for the right style of
For the,
hunting, I'm sure.
that's right. Yeah, and like I said, I've learned to kind of go backwards a little bit here and backtrack or backpedal. I've learned to become very versatile, meaning land and water and cellar holes, and of course the farm fields that we get permissions on. So each tool has its job, and we try to go prepared. Let's just put it that way, because you never know. A lot of times in our area, being colonial, back into the 1600s, very early 1600s, a lot of times those farm fields are, very close to a homestead or an old cellar. And so we need to get in and around an area that we might be using the 14x9, let's say, to start out with in the field. And we find ourselves kind of working our way into the woods where this, abandoned cellar hole is. And now we find we may have to switch over to a smaller coil because everything's so overgrown. So, it pays to go equipped. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned water hunting and finding things. So you're a ring finder also, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I've been a ring finder for quite a few years. Yes.
Yeah. And how did you get started doing that?
Well, actually, it was kind of, well, I used to belong to Treasure Net, and I noticed a few of the guys actually belonged to this group called the Ring Finders, and I just inquired, and come to find out there were a couple of guys that belonged to the same ring finders, and I inquired, and the next thing you know, I became a ring finder, I guess. And I felt pretty confident, and I knew what I was doing. I had a lot of years under my belt. It's a little nerve-wracking at first when someone calls you up and says, I've lost an heirloom, and would you be able to help me find it? And of course, my first comment is always, there's never any guarantee. If you can put me in the area that you've seen it last, I can give it a try. And I've been very successful over the years.
Absolutely. Now, how often do you do that in a typical month?
Well, in the summer months here, because it's not like Florida where we kind of have summer, I guess you could call, compared to us up here in New England all year. Up here, we only got a good 6 month, maybe 7 months. When we do get a call. We did get a call yesterday. When I say we, I had a friend of mine that we both work together. If he gets a call further down Cape Cod, he'll do that and he'll give me a call and we'll both tag team. And if I get it up this way, north on the mainland, just at the beginning of Cape Cod, I'll give him a call. So we do work together and we cover an area of about 100 square miles. Okay. So, yeah, we just got a call yesterday. Now, not because it was in the water. Ironically enough, we have a spring cleanup and a fall cleanup because of all of our leaves. And a lot of times people lose while they're doing fall cleanups within the leaves. And that's exactly where the wedding band was yesterday. And we did manage to save it.
I said you're going to try.
Yeah, I just had a question on Facebook. People want to know if we're going to, it's Florida Hunt 8. And it doesn't look like it. We're going to try, but I just don't know right now. So that's up by Jeff, up a little north of me here. And Jocelyn still hasn't got her knee replacement. She was scheduled to do it last week.
Florida Hunt 8. Sorry.
Yeah, Florida Hunt 8. But anyway, she was in the hospital room bed, and they pulled the plug on her and said, "You got to go home. You can't do it today."
Wow.
So unfortunate, but. Well, I'm trying to talk her into still getting it done, and she's not too happy about that experience. Jeff, how are we doing over there on YouTube?
Well, good. We got a question, and I think it's probably from Pink Power Alley Treasure Hunter. She wants to know about a bull ring.
Yeah, I'll bet she does. So the story. Yeah, I'll bet she does. So, okay, Allison, well, here's your answer. She knows all about the bull ring. Her and I go back quite a ways. I met her and Steve Zazulik around the same time, give or take a year. And for those that don't know about Steve Zazulik, I'm sure they do, but if they don't, he was the guy that did the first few episodes on Oak Island. So Steve and I became very good friends on another area that we had both joined. And anyway, so the bull ring story is I was in an area that we had permission to detect. It was a farmland, actually, and I came across this piece of gold, and it is in the shape of a bull, and it has two diamond eyes, and we believe that it was a piece of Tiffany, and we believe that the eyes were added later for a 50-year anniversary. I took the liberty of taking this bull head that was actually a cufflink and married it to one of the rings that I found. So that is the story on the particular gold ring. But I always bring it to all my treasure shows, or if I go down to Florida or wherever, I always have someone take a picture with it. I think it's kind of a neat little heirloom that I found. We think it was made somewhere around 1903, and well, we were offered a few dollars for it even when I first found it. So we can always unmarry it from the ring and put the bottom of the, I guess where the part where the cufflink would go back on it if we had to. But it's a pretty cool item, yeah.
Very cool.
It's very heavy, let's put it that way. I would never have been able to make a necklace out of it without hurting my chest. Fact, as a matter of fact, hold on. Well, hang on. If we're live, we might as well get it out. Hang on. Bear with me. Here we go. All right. So this is the bull ring right here. I don't know if you folks can see it or not, but
yeah,
that is the bull ring, and it's actually, like I said, a cufflink that I married to an 14-karat ring that I had found out in the water, and it's got diamond eyes. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a big.
So one of the big two. Yeah, it's a heavy one. We like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the heavy ones like that. So
Yeah.
while we're talking about finds, what is your favorite find?
My favorite finds, I have multiples. I would say on land, it has to be my matrix wax seal that I found that was actually made or carved somewhere around 1792. Now we know it was 1792. I had it authenticated. It's actually a wax seal that would have been hung probably off the side of a chain that went to a pocket watch. And that's what they use when they drop the liquid or wax onto a back of a envelope, and then they'd use the seal as their. This one has initials on it, MP, and that's what that was made for. We think it was for someone that was very, very prominent. Probably, we think maybe Payne or someone of that stature. We have proof that in this particular carnelian stone, there were 4 engravers, and we know that it was made before 1793 because they all went back to England in 1793, and they only engraved here in Boston area 1792 and prior. So we definitely know that that is at least the time period. We still do not know who MP is. We have done extensive historical working, looking into archives. I can't come up with anyone that has the letters MP. But it doesn't mean we're not going to give up. You know, you never know. 5 years from now, who knows? Maybe somebody will come forward with some kind of information regarding those 2 letters. But it's a pretty cool piece of history. I absolutely treasure it. I've got it in its own special little frame. It's made of brass with gold gilt. The flowers were actually engraved by one of the particular engravers. Then the lettering was done by another engraver. They all specialized in one particular thing. And one was the lettering, one was the flowers, one did the outside of the carnelian stone. It's a beautiful piece. If you ever get a chance to take a look at it on my Facebook, it is there.
Okay, cool. Absolutely.
And as far as water hunting, I actually found a Continental Dollar, 1776. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. That's one of my other favorite finds. Unfortunately, when I dug it, not knowing what we dug, because it was the pewter model of the 3 different metals, they made silver, pewter, and bronze. The one that I found was pewter. Again, I didn't have it slabbed, but I did go to an auction and had the numismatist look at it. He said it's most definitely the real deal. If I ever wanted to send it in, which I haven't done yet, he said that it looks to him like it's the real deal. A lot of those were definitely copied and faked over the years, but he said that is definitely the real deal. So unfortunately, when I dug it, Jeff and Phil, it was, I cracked it. Pewter doesn't last very long in salt water, as we all know. And when I dug it, there was a little sliver, and of course, it's the part with the date. I never found the other part with the date. But one good thing about it is that we know that they were only produced that 1 year. So we know it's a 1776. They weren't issued until about 1778. And I have the pewter one with a single R in the word currency. It's pretty cool. It's quite an astonishing piece.
Yeah, I don't think pewter holds up anywhere.
It doesn't. You know, it's the same thing with pewter USA buttons.
Yes,
we do find them all the time, and it seems like they're always broken. If you find a whole one, you know, man, I'll tell you, you got a treasure. Hang on to it because they're tough to come by, especially in the salt water.
Yeah, I have quite a few pewter buttons, but from like the War of 1812 time period, and maybe a little older. And they just, even in the Florida Sand, which buttons come out real nice, they still come out pretty tough.
Yeah.
We got a question here from Rodney Scott who wants to know, when you're detecting in the water, are you scuba diving or just wading in the water, or do you do both?
I do both. I am certified. I've been certified since 1999, and what a great thing I did when I did that. That opened up a whole new world to me. I haven't dove in about a year, only because of some issues that I've had, but I haven't given up. So we get out there with the. I've always got a wetsuit on, and I'll go out as far as I possibly can. I try to go where no one else will go or hasn't been. That's usually a general rule. Of course, we have to take into consideration when we're out there the elements. So folks, take it from me, and I know that you've probably have heard of a few other guys that this has happened to. You got to be very careful. I always face the waves. I'm watching my back. Up here we do have sharks. And we look like a big fat seal this time of year. And I do hunt all year long. So that may be another question that someone might have. I am out there all year long. And when I say all year, I'm talking January, February, March. Very, very cold. And again, with these elements, you might be in 4 feet of water, but you'll turn around and you'll have a wake or something that's gone by, or the southwest wind that we have that's a prevailing wind. It will show you who's boss right quick.
That's
so
right.
always
Never
be
turn your
aware.
back on a wave.
Never.
We got a question from Terry Curry. Does the Deus 2 impress you? Have you heard anything about it?
I've had a couple in my hands. I find it personally a tough machine to get to know. But that's just my personal feelings towards it. And yes, I have had a couple in my hands. I used them about 2 hours. I just found it very, very chattery to me. But I know that they have found some exceptional finds. So, it's like anything else. Once you get to learn it, I'm sure it's a fantastic machine.
Well,
Absolutely.
it is. It is. I have them, but I think what they were referring to is the new machine that's coming out, the
Mhm.
Deus 2, that's waterproof, that you can
I-
dive down to 66 feet with
Okay.
it.
I
That's
have,
out.
I have not had the chance or the pleasure to even try one yet.
Well, nobody has. They're not here yet, but
They're not
they've
here
been,
yet, but they will,
putting up
unless the
the,
tester has them. But right now, I don't think
Mhm.
anybody has them in the U.S. But hopefully,
Okay.
they'll be here within a few weeks.
and
We
then
did
I'll
have a
have mine,
question.
won't I, Phil?
Pardon me?
Then I'll have mine, won't I?
Yeah, you're going to be first. Yeah. So, Leighton,
There's got to
somebody's
be some
asking.
first,
I think it was Michael Coils was asking, "Are you going to Florida Hunt 8?"
I believe I am, and yes, Mike, we had the pleasure to hunt together, and yeah, I believe I have had the official invitation just recently. So yes, it's on my list.
Okay. And do you have other hunts that you're planning on attending this year?
I haven't committed to anything quite yet because of my scheduling, but as soon as I can, it'll definitely be out there in the chat. That's for sure.
Okay, cool. And I guess I'm going to keep going down my list here. What is your oddest find? What would you consider your oddest find?
I have actually a couple of them. One of them I found about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, not all that long ago. I was out in a freshwater pond, and this is again being versatile. You have to go freshwater, saltwater, land, and saltwater, wherever. So I found I found part of a fly rod, and it was way out close to my neck height. And one more step, and I would have been underwater without any kind of scuba gear. But I got a signal. Always trying to get out a little further than everyone else, and managed to look down in my scoop after I got the signal taken care of. And in my scoop was a pair of false teeth. So very interesting. And the reason why I guess I must have found it was because the back part of the plate was platinum. So that's one oddity that I found. And then not too long ago, within the last couple of years on a beach, after a nice nor'easter in the wintertime, and finding a lot of silver and buffalo nickels and all that great stuff, few pieces of gold that day. I pulled out what appeared to be a marble that was attached to a ring, and believe it or not, it was an eyeball. It was an eyeball, a glass eyeball that was in this wire, sterling wire that someone had manufactured into a ring. So I always call it my all-seeing eye ring. It's kind of scary. I've put it away. It's kind of an odd-looking thing. It's pretty, but not something I would want to sport around town. Let's put it that way.
Awesome.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy.
Leighton, when you're hunting out in the water, now you mentioned you're a diver. Have you used the new Blue Nemo system?
No, I haven't, but I would like to give that a whirl.
Yeah, well, you've got two different options. You got the Blue Nemo, which is we sell in the shop. It's waterproof. You can go 10 feet with that. And then now they've got the new Nomad coming out, and I think that one is that 30 feet, Jeff? 35?
35.
35 feet. So,
yeah, well, here in New England, 10, 12 feet would be more than enough because, we're in around the areas of the dive rafts. Out further than that, unless I would be on a wreck site, it would probably be almost, in my instance, useless. But I would say a 10, 12-footer would be more than sufficient here. Yeah.
So have you done wreck sites since you're mentioning that?
Well, wreck sites are off limits here. I have stumbled across a couple by accident as we're going along the seafloor. I've gotten a couple of nice bottles off a few of them, but they're protected like anything else. You have to go through the right channels to actually get into something like that. You just can't go ahead and pilfer anything we want. And we have almost the same type of laws as Florida. It's finders keepers, but the state wants a little bit of it too. So everybody gets their fingers in on it.
Absolutely. Now
Yeah.
I see. Why don't you tell the folks you've got your name, the Widow? Give us a brief history on that. I know a little bit about it, but go ahead and tell everybody.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Captain Sam Bellamy decided to go from Cape Cod after he had met a girl here, Maria Hallett, on Cape Cod, down to get the 1715 fleet into his possession somehow or a way or another, and failed. They never found any treasure. On his way back to meet up with his girlfriend, Maria Hallett, who had gotten pregnant prior to him leaving without him knowing, he didn't want to come back and be a dud. Her dad said that, you are not worthy of marrying my daughter, and don't come back unless you have a lot of money. So he turned to piracy real quickly here, and he plundered over 50 different galleons on the way back up north. And to his dismay, he got very greedy and not only took gold, the silver, all the provisions, he also took and replaced his ballast with these extra cannons. And they ran into a storm late April of 1717 and ended up on the beaches or sandbar of Wellfleet. And the ship broke its back. All but 3 or 4 people survived, and he was not one of them. So he never got to see his child that was, by the way, passed away. It choked on some straw in a barn, and they've never recovered his girlfriend or the baby that belonged to Sam Bellamy. But anyway, that ship was located by a gentleman named Barry Clifford, and has done very well over the years. So it's right here, right in our backyard. There is a big pirate museum here in Yarmouth, and it's highly, highly recommended. So that's how I got my name, Witta. I've had that since, I kind of used it since 2002, somewhere right around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a fascinating place to visit. I will say there are a lot of gold. It's got one of the oldest, it is the oldest Akan jewelry from the Indians ever recorded. And a lot of them were all broken pieces because pirates were, democratic back then, and everybody had an even say on board. So, we plunder a boat. We use a round figure. We got 1,000 pieces of gold. We break these 1,000 pieces up into individual pieces that everything is weighed, and everybody gets an even share. So that's how a lot of this Akan jewelry it's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're talking about gold. Have you dug a gold coin?
I have dug only one gold coin. It was after 2012 Sandy. We had a big nor'easter here, and then we had another storm right after that. And again, here's our, the rock situation coming back at hand. And yes, I did. 1851 Charlotte Mint, which is only about 3,000 or 4,000 of them made. So it was a $1 coin. I actually found it in the same scoop as a Standard Liberty quarter. I don't believe I got the low tone. I think I had the high tone. I plopped it out, went back, checked my hole, had another signal, thought it was foil, went back up on the beach because we were close to the edge of the water at the day, and plopped it out. It was laying right on top. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had 4 witnesses with me that day. They were astonished as I was. So when you least expect it, right?
Right, absolutely. And what detector were you using?
That was the CTX. Yeah, okay. CTX. Yeah, I again, not very deep, maybe 10, 12 inches out in the sand. But, we have that black reoccurring sand when the tide takes out 2 or 3 feet of sand, unlike your area where, you might see 5, 10, 12 feet of sand sometimes after a hurricane. If we get 2 or 3 feet sand off of our beaches, we're doing fantastic. So we're down, we have that really hard clay, not the conch-meal like you have, but the clay. And once things get to that area, it just doesn't go any further. So we need that 2 or 3 feet off our sand, off of our beaches.
Yeah, over here on the West Coast where I'm at, we don't get any big sand erosion, or it's a rarity. Now the East Coast would get that, but we wouldn't get that over here. And I know Jeff was just over to Treasure Coast, and they're constantly renourishing and pumping new sand in it. So it's got to be a big nor'easter to take a bunch of that away. So
it have to be a category 10 hurricane to get rid of all that sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question though, Leighton. Have you had it in your hands, or you have an opinion on the new Fisher Impulse AQ?
I haven't had one in my hands, but I do have. I do have a friend of mine that enjoyed using it. Not very long. I don't even know where he got it, but he was able to use it for a little while and told me he really liked the results. I haven't had a chance to do anything with it. No, I wish I could say yes.
All righty. Well, that's the new Pulse machine that's supposedly going to be coming out. But Jeff, I think, has been waiting a long time for one.
Get here. I'm first on the list.
Yeah, they've been having. I think they have some issues with getting the materials, to make it.
Yeah.
How about the other one we had on the show here a couple weeks back, a Tarsace? Have you ever seen those?
I have not. Not very popular up this way that I know of, and I'm not sure why. Is that something that's very popular down your way in Florida?
It's a specialty detector. It's not a Pulse, and it's not a VLF. It's kind of a hybrid of the two. And I have one myself, and I'm really impressed with it. But I think Demeter is going to be at the Florida Hunt 8. So you might be able to see it there. It's pretty impressive. Awesome. For a Pulse to be able to run nice and smooth. It runs smooth on the salt, but then you have a target ID too, which is it's just kind of crazy that you have those two together.
Yeah. But, well, talking about a Pulse machine, I do have one other one that I do use, and that is the Garrett Infinium. I swear by that machine when, again, everything has its time and place.
Right.
And in our black sand, when it does get down into the mud area or into the clay area, that's a fantastic machine on small gold. And then, of course, I have my one other machine that I do have is the another Mine Lab, and that's the XCal tube. And honestly, that's kind of like a foolproof, a no-brainer. It's either good or bad. You dig it and you go forward. So it's, if you don't really want to have to use your brain too much, the XCal is fantastic in our area.
Yeah, good machine.
It's
Good
a fantastic machine.
Absolutely. And I think Jeff's got the banner going across there, so he must be going to give something away.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
going to do a little bit of a giveaway tonight, and everybody had to register for it. We're giving away 2 tonight, and this is the item. If you can see it, this is from Nocta Macro, and it is, I think it straps on your leg, or you can go on your arm, wherever you want it to go, and it's got a holster for your pin pointer, so you can quick draw your pin pointer. And that's the phrase everybody had to use: quick draw my pin pointer with Nocta Macro. So we've got the names drawn. We're giving away 2 tonight. And for the rules, you all know. And if you're new tuned in, we'll go over them again. After we announce your name, you'll have 3 minutes to either text or Facebook Messenger to Phil or myself. And those are our numbers going across the bottom of the screen. When you text or messenger, you must use your name and that you are here. Then you must email all your info, your name, address, phone number, all that kind of good stuff to treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. Then we can get your winnings out to you. And we also ask that once you get your prize, you take a picture of yourself with it and post it on the group Facebook page. So with that being said, get your fingers ready, because I'm going to announce 2 names at a time. You'll have 3 minutes to text or Facebook Messenger with your name and you are here to those numbers scrolling along the bottom of the screen. So here we go. Gary Singleton and Susan Jones Verrier. You have won a Nocta Macro holster. You got 3 minutes. At 7:50, we're going to more names.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so, and if you do win, please post a picture. Like we've had some winners in the past, and they've posted their pictures with their prize. So that's always cool. So please do that if you can. All righty. So, Leighton, what has been, now when you do the ring finders, you're doing it for profit then, correct?
No, I'm not actually. This is how it works on our end. I'm not sure that how others are doing it, but my friend and I that have kind of buddied up, what we do is we charge $35 to get us to and from.
Okay.
If you want to give us a reward of some type after locating the item, if we locate the item, then we'll gladly accept it. But we never charge, never.
Okay.
So, that might leave a bad taste in some people's mouths. I don't really know, but that's just my preference. And the friend that I have that joins me, that's how we work it. And we've been very successful. I think that people don't feel, how can you put a price on an heirloom? This is the thing. What's it worth? Some people just don't have the money to be charged. I'd rather give somebody back something and see a fantastic smile, believe it or not, on someone's face than to say, oh, you owe me $300. Well, to me, that's just not cool. You know what I mean? I didn't get into it. So let me just touch base a little bit too. When I got into metal detecting in 1972, being a young boy, we did it because, believe it or not, we didn't have much money. I went to school after going to school, back at the school playgrounds to try to find 4 quarters so that we could buy a pack of cigarettes for my father, a loaf of bread, and a can of dehydrated milk. That's what I did every day. Yeah. So, now, some 50 years later, things have evolved so much in this industry that, yes, do people charge for certain things? Yes, absolutely. It is. And I get it. You know what I mean? Their time is worth something. I just don't feel I'm in a position right now in my life. I don't have to do that. So, and everybody's different. So that makes the world and so be it. But I'm glad you asked about the ring finders again, because I was going to bring it up before we actually headed out of here. My best return ever was just last year. It was a $51,000 engagement ring that was lost a week prior to me actually finding it. I got a call late Sunday afternoon one summer day towards the end of the year last year, and a gentleman by the name of Rocky says to me, Mr. Harrington. I said, yeah. He goes, I am in dire straits. My wife tripped on a rock last week, and she lost, when we went to pick her up, her hands came out of the sand, and we couldn't find an engagement ring that was given to us. Now, he didn't tell me how big it was until after I actually found it. And I with a few explicit words, once I saw it, when found it, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy waited a week to tell me about it. You know what I mean? What are you thinking? So anyway, it turned out to be a $51,000 return.
That's all.
The guy was very generous. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the one lady did not call in time, so Mark Friorella, if you are watching, you are a winner. You've got 3 minutes, my friend. You know the drill.
All right. Good luck. Call in.
Who was the winner, Jeff? The one who claimed it.
Well, there were two names that I called.
Yeah, only one.
Okay,
more.
Gary Singleton is here. He's
Gary
good.
Okay.
And Susan Jones Verrier did not make it.
Okay, so we drawed another name.
Yep, Mark Friorella.
Yeah, Leighton, I was asking about charging because, our club does it and the St. Pete Club does it.
Mhm.
They do it on a volunteer basis or donation basis. If you want to make a donation, and I think a lot of people, if they don't need the money, the people don't want to take the money, but they'll donate it to our club. So
Right.
it's a cool thing. It's a good way to give back. So
It is, absolutely. Always pay forward, right?
absolutely. So if you can give the time away, that's cool. But if you want to donate it, and I've had people give me money and make me take it, and if I
Right.
didn't need the money, I would just donate it to somebody else. And
Right.
donate
Yeah.
it
And
to the club.
I've run into that same situation. We had one just this past summer. We went down. She called us. We went and looked. We couldn't find it. She swore it was in between, only knee deep, and it was only like 100 yards apart from the two jetties. And we didn't find it. We went back the next morning. Another 3 hours. Two guys. That's 6 hours swing time. It's not there. It wasn't there. Well, 2 weeks went by. And my buddy calls me and goes, hey, you want to give it one more shot? I said, sure, let's go. So he goes in where she said it was again, and he's over there swinging like a crazy man, still nothing. I decide to jump the jetty to the other side. I walk in the water, get a target, it's her ring. So I get up on the beach and I said to him, game over. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I found it. He goes, you got to be kidding me. I said, no. I said, I got it. It's right here. He goes, you couldn't believe it, right? So he goes, well, let's give her a call. We gave her a call, and she come down. She's crying,
Oh, yeah.
hysterical. It was a diamond that came out of her great-grandparents' ring, and she failed to tell me that she had a few mimosas that night, and that she recalled now, since I found it over the other side of the jetty, that, oh, yeah, we were over there drinking. She goes, I was kind of right. I said, yeah, knee-deep water. That's the only thing you had right about the whole situation. But, again, she tried to give us a couple $100. We told her, listen, this ring is an heirloom. There is no price that you can give us for this. This one's on us. And she was, again, crying. And, so she wrote up a nice little article. It's actually on the Ring Finders if you want to take a look at it. So, yeah, really, really cool story. So you never give up. Be persistent. Always, always recheck your holes. When in doubt, dig it out. Those are my famous last words, right?
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
And the other thing is never work. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Jeff. Go ahead.
You got the echo again or something going on. Anyway, we've got the winners, Mark Fiorella and Gary Singleton. Guys, you know the drill now. Send the email. That's how you're going to get your prize. So congratulations to both those guys. And
Congrats.
Yeah,
We
of
got
course,
about 5 minutes left, so let's keep on keeping on.
yeah. Just make sure you guys, the winners, post the pictures and put that holster on and put your pinpointer in it.
That's
Post a
right.
picture.
Show us your moves with your quick draw.
Yeah, show it. Yeah, show us out there. Get the picture when you're out in the field detecting a silver coin.
That's right. Just use your nickname Wyatt Burp or something. I don't know.
Well, Leighton, when you're talking about the ring not being where they said it was, that happens so many times. It's never where they say it's at.
It's never where they say never. I mean, outside of that guy that was named Rock, he did kind of put us within a 20-foot square, but that's about where, I always try to reenact, okay, when was the last time you saw it, and when, if you did see it come off your hand or finger, where was it then? That's my main question. And then I always tell them, do me a favor. Do me a favor. And they'll always say yes. And I say, go stand exactly where you think it is. That's the best memory of all. You can tell me where it is, but that don't mean anything. To me, go stand where you believe you dropped it, and you stand there until I'm done. And I've got a perfect example. I know we only got a few more minutes, but here's one where, like I said, our tides on the north side of Cape Cod go quite a ways out, like a mile, and it's all sand. But at high tide, it's over your head. So I had a gentleman call me 2 years ago. He lost his wedding band. It just so happens it was supposedly near, like you said, where he thought it was going to be. And I said, we swung for over an hour and a half in the water. I said, it's not here. We gridded it. My buddy went one way. I went the other. We crisscrossed. We did all that. Didn't work. I said, is your wife here? And he looked at me kind of funny. I said, is your wife here? He goes, yeah. I said, she seemed to know more about where you lost it than you do. I said, and don't take that offensively, but can you call her out in the water? We're in the water. It was about waist deep. She came out and I told her exactly what I told you guys. Stand exactly where it was. Well, I walked right towards her, and I'll be danged if it wasn't under her feet. She stood exactly on it, almost a half a mile out in the water. And, I thought I actually was getting a falsing by going close to her and, having to pick the coil up a little bit off the sand. But in fact, it was actually the ring that she was standing on. It was his wedding band. One of my best returns right there.
That's crazy for sure.
Yeah. She knew exactly where it was. I told him, I said, the buoy gives you a reference point, but that buoy swings on a chain and it goes up and down. So, today it might be 40 feet to the left. The initial anchor point will stay there, but, the buoy moves 40 feet in every direction all day long, all night long, up and down, in and out. So, you're close, but you're not right where you should be. And she had some markings on the beach where they had put a rake in the ground and used that as a walking straight out point. So, yeah, we were lucky to get that one back with a nice white gold band.
Yeah,
happy.
Absolutely. Half mile out. That's crazy to be able to find.
About a half a mile. Yeah. And probably even more out. Yeah. Probably even more than that.
Yeah. So it looks like we're getting close to the end here. Why don't you give us some words of wisdom to our members to make them better detectors, since you've been doing it for 50 years. Let's hear some wisdom.
Well, I would say the best I could say is, like I already just said a couple of minutes ago, persistence. Always recheck your hole. I've had so many times where, people go, oh, gee, I found a cache, or, I've had a little coin spill. And that's because they're checking their hole, rechecking their hole, and make sure that it's empty before you leave. Always put your plugs back in. When in doubt, dig it out. If it's repeatable in any direction, or if it goes away, I call it kind of ghost hunting. If you go over it and it goes away, stop right there. Don't let that tone go away. Do the wiggle effect over the top of it with that 30-30, and you will almost suck the tone out of the ground. Believe me, that's probably one of my better, learning experiences that I've learned with my machine. I've learned to listen to what my machine is telling me. There's two processes, one in the machine and one in your head. And if they both come together, you will find what you're looking for. treasure is under your feet.
Absolutely. And I think that when you learn your detector, it's like just like a part of your extension of your body. Once it's like joined to you. You just know it. Yeah, and it takes time to get that. And that's good words of wisdom there.
Well,
And
thank you.
I guess it's about that time, isn't it, Jeff?
It is indeed. It is the witching hour.
Yes, it is. So let me say thank you first, Leighton, for coming on the show here. And it's been awesome. And hopefully we'll get you back on again if you don't mind.
Oh, I'd love to come back. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you in Florida Hunt 8 if I'm able to make it there.
I
And
hope we
thank
do.
you, Jocelyn, for handing me the questions. And of course, thank you, Jeff. And I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
All righty, Leighton. It's better late than never, my friend. I know we had a test set up this afternoon, and I said I'll be there at 3:30, and I come moseying in about 4:15. My head just went.
That's okay. That's okay. It all works out in the end.
But we want to thank you ever so much for coming on the show tonight. Your wisdom is just fantastic. And telling your stories. I think everybody, judging from the chat, everybody loved it. And we're looking forward to having you back. And I will be in contact with you to get you scheduled for a later time. And hopefully, if I'm able to make Florida Hunt 8, we'll get to meet.
Sounds like a plan.
But the only problem is if you're hanging around with that, that Mark dude, you know what I mean? I don't know,
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys. I really do appreciate it. Looking forward to it again.
Happy hunting and dig deeper.
And we will see you on Treasure Tales, everybody, Thursday night. We're back on the air. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
We'll see you guys. Thank you.
Bye now.